What's up, y'all? This is Mongo. So WWE decides to drop the bomb on us today that the Bella Twins are now going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, and all of the usual suspects come out of their cubby holes to complain and bitch and moan. And so I decided to just take a look at a couple of things and discuss this whole thing from the beginning. Number one, the WWE Hall of Fame is not a, for starters, it's not a pro wrestling Hall of Fame. Uh, it is a pro wrestling company, but it is an entertainment company as well. Um, that's the first thing people need to recognize. The second thing people need to recognize is that there is more to wrestling than who can do wrist locks and who can do arm drags and who can do the best headlock or the best atomic drop. I mean, if we're being honest, nobody cares about that shit. If we really was going to say, hey, you're not a good wrestler, you don't deserve to be in, then there would be a lot of people who wouldn't be in there or wouldn't even be considered a great pro wrestler. The Junkyard Dog was not considered a great pro wrestler, and he was the Ultimate Warrior. The fact of the matter is, it's always going to be about who has great fan reaction, great fan engagement, who do fans actually care about. Um, a third thing, or maybe the fourth thing, I don't know, I'm lost already because there's so much going on. But a lot of people also say, well, they shouldn't be coming in before blankety blank and blankety blankety blank. Look, it's not a race. All right. There's no reason why the Bella Twins can't go in now and Miss Elizabeth or China or Molly Holly or Michelle McCool and also Layla, why they can't go in next year or the year after. There's just no reason why they shouldn't or why they can't. It's not a race. Okay. The third or fourth thing, uh, there seems to be some confusion about, well, they say, well, the WWE Hall of Fame has no criteria. Well, okay. You have to ask yourself, what is the criteria? What criteria do you want? So if you want to say, well, did you win any kayfabe championships? Okay, well then Ted DiBiase doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and neither does Jake the Snake Roberts, because neither one of them won even an Intercontinental Championship. Neither one of them won it. Well, Ted DiBiase was a tag team champion, I think, twice, with like IRS or something like that. But he never won a major singles championship, so you can't use that. What about drawing money? You have to be a big money draw. Okay, well then that's a lot of people who shouldn't be in the WWE Hall of Fame because they were never big money draws. So least of all, the Bella Twins wouldn't be. Well, the Bella Twins probably made more money through Total Divas and Total Bellas than most of the males who are in the Hall of Fame. So if you talk about big money draws, you're gonna have to eliminate quite a few people. Some people like Mr. Perfect. There's folks who want the British Bulldog in. The British Bulldog sold out one show in 1992. You know, he was never really a big draw anywhere. Well, he's a big draw in Europe, but that's about it. You know, as far as consistently in the United States, no. You know, it's just. And then you have other people who aren't really even big stars in the United States. Dare I say, even some people like Eddie Guerrero. You know, Eddie Guerrero he was lovable, and you know we supported Eddie, but Eddie wasn't really a big financial wasn't a financial big success. He wasn't also a TV draw and all that sort of thing. I mean, we can, in doing creating these quote unquote criteria, you know, you're going to end up eliminating people who everybody wants in. You know, and what I say typically is that I ask people, do the NFL have offensive linemen in the Hall of Fame? And they almost always say yes. And I would say, what statistics do you use to say whether an offensive lineman should be in the Hall of Fame? They don't sack the quarterback. They don't intercept the football. They don't score touchdowns. They don't have a winning percentage or anything like that. The most you got is sacks allowed. That's probably it. How well do they prevent other things from happening? You know, and it's probably the most underrated position in all of sports, being an offensive lineman, because you're a big dude in a helmet. Nobody knows who you are. You're not a star player. Nobody cares. And you can have a Hall of Fame career as an offensive lineman, and people will just clap and just say, well, yeah, well, he's pretty good, and not really even have ever paid the guy any attention on the field. That's what, some of these guys are basically their offensive linemen. Guys like Rikishi and Coco Beware, they're kind of like the offensive linemen of the WWE. They are around for a long time. Everybody know who they are. Like Rikishi was in the WWE for a really long time. He was there when I was a kid, like in 1992, 1993, and he was still there in 2003 and 2005 and stuff like that. Like a guy is in the company for 10 years, and is pretty regularly seen. Like, was he in the main event of WrestleMania? No. But was he a fixture on TV in a lot of different roles? Rikishi, yes. The Godfather, the guy who plays the Godfather, Charles Wright, yes. Coco Beware was there for a long time, but he wasn't there 10 years, I don't think. But there occasionally you have this sort of situation where there's just people who are around for a long time and they become almost synonymous with the company. And when you see them, I think, like, I expect Hardcore Holly to go in the Hall of Fame eventually. Why? Because Hardcore Holly was in WWE in 1993 and he was still there in 2011. He was still there in 2012 or something like that. The guy was around forever. He was a role player. Wrestling is a scripted entertainment, and some people do their job much better than others. Some people are just kind of good at their job. Like when you look at the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you have Giancarlo Esposito, who is probably the most famous, what do you call it, co-star. He was never the box office star. He was not Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. Giancarlo Esposito was the guy who, could do your art house movies, but he could also play in other movies. And, he was just in everything. He was a guy who had a lengthy career under the radar, never made a ton of money, especially on one movie or another. He was never De Niro or nothing like that. He was never the big Hollywood movie star. But I think he has a star on the Walk of Fame. So because he had a lengthy career and people who are within that sphere respect his effort and the amount of time that he put in to get to that point. It has nothing to do, and it does not denigrate anyone else, that Giancarlo Esposito gets respect. Daniel Day-Lewis was another one. If I remember correctly, that was his name. Daniel Day-Lewis, fantastic actor, was never in a lot of movies. The movies that he was in, I don't know if they broke hundreds of millions of box office records. Look, when you're usually very good at something, you're a crossover star, people typically will say you're not really good at what you do. Another thing with The Rock, John Cena, are they really good wrestlers? Not really. John Cena isn't Jushin Thunder Liger, okay? But people used to say the same thing about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, why would you go see his movies? He sucks as an actor. He's not Al Pacino. He's not the best actor in the world. And yet people were paying money to go see Terminator and go see Conan the Barbarian and going to see all of the action movies that he was doing. How can you deny his success when that is the point of the business? The point of the business is to be a success. Financial success. Okay? Now you can get, there's if you want to see that Hall of Fames or Walk of Fames or whatever are a Valhalla or a heaven for people within an industry, there's 100 roads to get there. There is no, you have to be the best actor of all time, because then there would be few people in there. It would be so prestigious that it would be like seeing a fallen star, and who the hell wants to be in that position where you're working and you're not going to get any sort of reward for it. So when people, and there was also talk, and it was not confirmed, that JBL will be going to WWE Hall of Fame. And let's let all of this just encompass all of this, because JBL was 10 months as a WWE champion, but because he's not a nice guy, people are going to say, oh, he doesn't deserve it and all that stuff. WWE, they have a formula when it comes to this sort of thing. They like for most of the people who are going into the Hall of Fame to be alive, And yes, that means that there are plenty of living people like Michelle McCool and Christian and Layla and Molly Holly and Victoria and some others who are simply not in the Hall of Fame. But again, it is not a race. As long as these people are healthy and still alive, they will get their opportunity. They will get their shot. You know, you don't have to tear down other people to support someone else. And I think that even they would say that. So anyone who is complaining, you have to come with a really good reason why. Now, I know that other people have their own Hall of Fames, but those Hall of Fames are flaky and problematic too because they feature people that nobody knows. The tastemakers create an aura around certain people, and then they say, "Oh, this guy is a Hall of Famer," and nobody outside of some cubby hole in the middle of nowhere knows who the fucking guy is. It's the same thing kind of with territorial wrestlers with WWE when they kind of folded into the what they call it, the legacy wing or something like that, where there's people who are like pre-WrestleMania who are probably long dead or so old that nobody has any idea who they are other than Vince, who probably saw them when they were young. And they induct all of those kind of old people at once. And those old people are usually dead. And they just kind of send them rings and plaques and stuff like that. And it's the same thing with the celebrity wing, where the celebrity wing is something different. It's people who have added some type of value to WWE through their actual work in the WWE. And people seem to forget this stuff all the time and constantly mix it up and constantly mess it up. And I understand that there's a lot of people who just want to be ignorant and just want something to bitch about. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But it doesn't work when you don't have a solid criteria yourself. You can just say, look, I don't really like the Bella Twins, because I don't like the Bella Twins either. But there's another interesting thing when it comes to the Bella Twins specifically, is they tend to believe that this only happens because they were dating John Cena and Daniel Bryan. I'm not so sure about the whole John Cena thing. I don't pay attention to the whole gossip of it. But I do know this. In 2009, 2010, the Bella Twins were stars. Daniel Bryan was not. When the WWE was trying to get Daniel Bryan over, they put him with the Bella Twins. Like if they were not on that level, why would they put Daniel Bryan with them to try to get them over? Back when they was trying to do the whole Daniel Bryan ladies man thing, which has probably been shitted on online because everyone thinks that you can just get over doing really good wrist locks and arm drags, despite the fact that people have told you 100,000 times. You people are the kinds of people who watch shoot interviews. You've been told 100 times that you can be the best mechanic in the world. You're not. That doesn't mean you're going to get over. And yet you still argue that mechanics are going to get people over. It's like, it gets you to a certain point. It could keep your job. But personality is what takes you to the next level. Identity is what takes you to the next level. And the Bella Twins have that. They have an identity. They have personality. They made money. Even if it was just, hey, nobody paid to watch them get beaten up in a wrestling match, I mean, who cares? They made money in other ways. There were other ways to make money. Sunny is in the Hall of Fame. I don't remember anybody ever paying any money to see Sunny take a body slam. She never even wrestled a match, as far as I know. And not in the WWE anyway. So, but Sunny was a big celebrity online. She was one of the biggest, most downloaded, huge draw online as far as eye candy and modeling and things like that. And yeah, that's good. That's good enough. If Sable wanted to go into the WWE Hall of Fame, she could, And we could do that stuff all day. There's different criteria. There's different things that you could look at, different things that you can do to go into the Hall of Fame or to have a long career without tearing up your body and breaking your neck, which is really weird because Nikki kind of broke her neck trying to be a good wrestler and trying to put on entertaining matches for people, and yet they're just deluged with hate repeatedly. And look, I'm not the biggest Bella Twins booster of all time. They're not on my list. I don't really care about them. But I'm not going to argue with whether they're a Hall of Fame or not. Because I know that they changed the industry a little bit. And they had a hell of a lot to do with people like Paige and Charlotte and Becky Lynch getting the kind of time that they get on TV now. You know, with the whole Give Divas a Chance thing. That was the Bella Twins. You know, they pushed for it on the main roster. Even though I think they were probably already doing it in NXT. They was pushing for it on the main roster for the women to have more time and to have a greater opportunity. And I don't see this as a situation where there are people who are undeserving or if there are people who are more deserving. I look at it, and even if I don't think that somebody deserves to be in, I try to figure out why they would be inducted first before I respond. And I see why the Bella Twins are inducted. I understand it. You know, if you are looking at it from a money perspective, or a crossover mainstream perspective, the Bella Twins got it. You can't argue with it. You know, now does this mean that some Japanese dude probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? You know, I was just looking at an Ultimo Dragon match before, wondering like, damn, he's not in the Hall of Fame. Why is Ultimo Dragon not in the Hall of Fame? But I mean, hopefully his time will come. You know, and if it doesn't, then that shit is a shame. But I'm not too upset about it because these are just cherries on the tops of careers. You know, some people are going to get them. Some people deserve them. And there's hundreds of thousands of wrestlers every year, every month, every year coming out, retiring, coming back, retiring, coming back. And I don't know. You know, like, it's not that many people that going into the WWE Hall of Fame because there hasn't been that many people who are really on that level or, you know, in that sort of class of being a major television star. You know, there's very few of them, you know. So, like, share, subscribe, tell me your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.